Wait, she's biased, okay?
No.
She should be.
I'm also a casting director, so this was a visceral response. Instead of blending the pathos or pathos into the moments as a bad guy, like he did in the other ones, it was compartmentalized, and he was completely, dangerous, and then had these moments that you believed. That Phil Joannou, the director, nobody saw it coming. You of all people, Jay, have to see it. And then the other thing about it is, it's this channeling that happens. The sexuality in this with Kim Basinger. I mean, I know this man; he's my husband for a really long time. What I actually said to you was, how did you even know about that? Like he played a female fantasy that I know. If you asked Eric. Do you know that women fantasize about this? He would sort of have no idea or pretend he had no idea what you're talking about. But he just found it. It just came to him. I don't know how. By the way, you were fantastic in the Matt Damon movie.
Thank you. Well, that's because of her.
Really.
Because she told me, make sure you look so ridiculous that Nick said to me, the number one thing, and she goes, remember, she brought up you playing Fosse if he didn't make it, Eric, and she said, you have to do what Eric Roberts did in Pope of Greenwich Village. You have to love your brother. You have to love Matt Damon so much that when you're saying these things where people would think like, he's just trying to make a buck off his brother. No, you have to play it in a way that you don't understand. It is a good idea for us.
Yeah,
us.
Yeah, you changed the whole story. You made it. And Clint is a little like Konchalovsky in this sense. He may have been oblivious.
I say that every day.
Okay. You changed it because suddenly it became a conflict. You didn't know you agreed with both of you. I watched the movie and I was like, he's right. No, he's right. Oh my God, how can they both be right and completely be opposites? And it was so much, it seemed like you had the kind suggestion instead of and also the other one that was great, of course, is the one with you and Julianne, the one where Keaton became a huge fan.
Seeing Other People,
which is just the truest movie in the
That was one of my favorite movies. That was the best written movie I've ever done.
Incredible. Eric watched that 25 times. It's sitting right on top of your old
That movie
tapes.
it's like Woody Allen written. It was written so well that I would get in an argument with somebody when I came home. And I didn't know if I was arguing with them or if I was acting like I was arguing with them.
So true.
Isn't that's fucking crazy?
So true.
That's how well written that movie was. Wally Wolodarski wrote it with his wife.
That was the only thing I'd ever seen. Perfect.
That's true. Yeah, my wife.
Really?
The fact that Nick and I wound up together is a modern miracle because she just come out of a relationship with Scorched Earth. I just came out of a relationship with Scorched Earth. Guys and gals handle breakups completely differently. The guys are like, let's get out on the streets, let's hit the bricks, let's make a meal out of it. My wife, on the other hand, says, I'll tell you one thing, I'm not going out with anybody for a while. I have been single since I was 16 years old, and I'm definitely never going to go out with another comic ever again. I'm definitely never going to go out with somebody divorced, and I'll be damned if I ever go out with somebody with a kid. And then I show up 4 weeks later, and we've been apart we've been apart 7 days, or maybe a little more, 14 days. In 7 years, 2 weeks combined.
Yeah.
We've been apart.
Amazing.
I don't know what to do when she's not around.
No, I know.
And that's how you feel about Eliza.
But seeing other people should be required viewing for anyone who ever is going to be in a relationship. Here, honey.
Huh?
Seeing other people should be required viewing for everybody who's ever going to be in a relationship. You should have to watch it and then decide, do you want to be in a relationship or not? Go for it. But but that's a great story about you guys.
Boring is great. The whole point of the movie is, I think as a culture, we all overlook how fantastic boring is. Yeah. Sitting at home playing Scrabble, watching all the Law and Orders with Jerry Orbach, lying in bed in your pajamas.
You just got to meet the right person to be boring next to.
Wow. What could anyone say after that? That's bad. What's better? Can we make it so that's how the whole thing ends? You just have to find in this life, Eric, the person that's the best possible person for you to be boring next to. Would you agree with that?
I've succeeded.
I've succeeded too. I will say the easiest job in show business is probably one where you don't have to work very hard. And your makeup artist has a very easy job. I don't think maybe you do. I don't know. And it's hard for me to give you compliments without it like I'm kissing your ass because you came by. You know what? Fuck it. You're already here. So I'll just compliment you like I would have said this shit a week out just to lure you here. You are a remarkably handsome guy. I mean, you're an alarmingly handsome guy. Like when people,
I will say this in front of your wife. I think that you are breathtakingly stunning.
Tell your husband Jay to get his hand off my leg.
But you said that earlier, and
No,
I switched legs.
That was my hand.
Oh, well, whose hand is that?
That's Matt Cohen.
When you were in Matt Cohen, when you were in The Dark Knight, it's almost like you're one of these guys. Falcone, you were the mob guy, right?
Falcone.
In The Dark Knight, and you were in a room with about 8 to 14 people when you're first seen in The Dark Knight. Matt's our resident geek.
When we're meeting all the other crime bosses, yeah.
And
you are the only one you look at.
You're the only guy anybody looks at in that scene.
It's like there's an Obi on you.
Well, I was the only one in focus.
Oh, please.
But he's got such good showbiz stories. I'm like, really? Tell us about that. How did that happen? Why did Nolan choose you out of everything?
I'll ask you this about that film. Did Heath Ledger have that aura of the beautiful and the damned about him?
No. I had been told, look out for Heath, man. He's in character. You got to stay away from him, and blah, blah. I'm told by like several people. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And we're on the set, and we had lots of rehearsal and lots of camera angles, and they were having like trouble because of the light situation, because it's all natural light and these open windows, and it was a big pain in the DP's ass. Anyway, who was fantastic about it. What's his name, honey?
I didn't know it was all natural light.
A lot of it. Chris Nolan.
That's
Jeffrey
amazing.
Campbell did the other one.
No, not
Expendables.
Not Jeffrey, but the guy who was.
Oh, it was Wally Fisher.
Wally Fisher. Wally Fitzer, yes.
Wally Fitzer.
We could have asked Matt Cohen, our producer. He's the comic book guy here.
Boy, like Wally lit a movie like, oh my God, it was so beautiful, that movie. But anyway,
let me say this: Wally Fitzer lights a movie like Roger Corman can write Sharktopus. They're both titans.
Ooh, buddy. So anyway,
Heath Ledger.
So Heath was so sweet, so approachable that he got through his big monologue one time, and we had a little break, and he walks up to me and he goes, "How am I doing?" And I said, "I think you're doing great, pal." He goes, "You know what? This is hard." I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. And we smiled and laughed. He was sweet. He was approachable. He was not weird. And all the stuff that I've heard is not true. He was a cool cat.
Like what stuff have you heard?
He was likable, man.
But what did you say? All the stuff that I heard, just so people out there listening, like what are some of the,
he was tough or
bullshit things
or
he
whatever.
was unapproachable. He was in his character so
tortured
deep
soul.
Blah, 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 blah.
He was not a tortured soul.
No, he was fine.
He was a guy.
And he was likable. Oh, he's so likable.
A likable, good actor.
Yeah.
It's one of those performances that makes you question why you're even in the business.
Why is that?
Because he played I grew up with the Joker, with Cesar Romero running around in tights.
Yeah, but look, Heath had to take it where he took it because who played the Joker just before him? He was brilliant. Jack was great. Jack was fantastic. And Jack was also a little bit of the caricature, but then he added this great dramatic, side to it that was just fun to watch. And so you could not play anything anywhere near it without being, compared to Jack. So Heath had to take it a whole other way.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm not saying it well. Is that when I saw Heath Ledger do the Joker, he took it a whole other way, and you made, for people listening, a gesture with your thumb skyward. He took it out of this, it wasn't here. It wasn't terra firma. He took this character. On the page, he's playing the Joker. And it's, okay, I can explain it better this way. It's one of those parts you watch someone play, and you say, in 10 lifetimes, I wouldn't have hit 3/4 of where that guy went with this. It was incomprehensible. Like you watch Pesci in Goodfellas and you go, that he's going to win Best Supporting Actor. That's amazing. And then you see Heath Ledger do the Joker, and Pesci in Goodfellas it looks like a ham and egger, like a guy just doing a part. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I just love how you said it. Yeah.
Heath Ledger doing the Joker, it was an actual comic book come to life, but when you watched it in this world, it wasn't a cartoony comic book performance.
You believed it.
It was completely believable. And that's what I always loved. Like, the Batman show was always my favorite show growing up because as a child,
You never believed it.
I didn't believe it. And I loved that I didn't believe it, that Batman and Robin would just like walk down the street and walk into a fucking bank and people in
their
suits
underpants,
and their underpants and tights, and people in their suits are like, "Hey, hi Batman, how are you?" "Hello, good to see you." And it was just like, I don't know why I made him Lorne Michaels. Oh, well, or Ted Knight. Good, Batman.
Yes, it's Ted Knight.
Robin. Good to see you. Well, keep it up. Chin up.
Larry.
But Heath was those guys. So when you were on set, did you think to yourself, this guy's going to win the Oscar?
It never occurred to me about the Oscar, no, because you're in the
You're in
work.
the
You're
thick
not
of
the
it.
award ceremony. You're not thinking about that.
I guess it makes sense for you because you have established in these conversations that when you show up to work, you're the guy. You're Falcone. You're not Eric. Huh?
Oh,
Maroney,
was
sorry.
his name. That's right, Maroney. Thanks, Elijah.
Maroney was Batman.
Yeah,
I apologize. So you show up. You are Maroney. So like me, here's how I act. Jim Norton once said this on the Opie and Anthony show, and I got to give credit where it's very well deserved. He says, "This is how I act. Not my turn. Not my turn. Not my turn. Go. Not my turn." And that's how I act.
We had a long discussion about this because we were discussing.
She's a listener.
We memorizing lines, and I said it's easy to memorize lines. You just you look at them once, and then you do the scene with your scene partners, and if you listen, even if it's poorly written, somehow your response will seem natural. And he looked at me like I was insane,
Yeah.
and he said, "But don't you get lost?" Because if I listen to the other people, I forget it's when it's my turn to talk.
Yeah, because I'm such a narcissist that I'll think of something that I think is better than what's written. If I'm just listening to what you say, I don't remember the line.
That's not a narcissist. That's an egomaniac.
Yes, I'm such a narcissistic egomaniac that I'll think of something better and I'll ad lib. And it's only like in the last year and a half, 2 years, where I've really done almost like Mametian, do it exactly how it's written. And I've kind of gotten my rocks off, like, because I was always all over the map. And I used to say, "Hey man, I'm coloring outside the lines, but you're going to know it's a pony when I'm done coloring. Don't worry about it. I'll get it close. I'll do it." But now it's such a fun thing to do it exactly, even if I think it sucks, especially if I think it sucks, to do it exactly how it's written and to make it work. And that's something
challenge.
It's
a challenge.
And that's something you do before you leave the house.
Why?
I'm always me standing next to a guy that I step into moments before they say action. Maybe as they say action, like on Shun, I become that guy. I'm telling you. Like I worked yesterday on Prime Suspect with Maria Bello. Tremendous actress.
Yeah, it's a real one.
She's in character. She's playing Timothy, the officer, and I'm playing the assistant district attorney. And I'm talking to the guy that cues the extras. I'm going, "That's a nice Springsteen shirt, man. Have you seen him in tour?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Action." And I turn the corner. Now I'm in the scene. And you may say, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's obviously broke when I'm sitting across from Eric and the work that you put in. I want to be more like you. I don't want to talk between takes.
Well, I don't live every character I play. You only have to live them if they're really hard to get in and out of. You only have to live them when if you don't, it's going to be a caricature. Like I can play a redneck because that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
So I can play a redneck. I can phone it in and be great. But like in Paul Snyder and like Paulie Gibboni and Pope, they were guys that I am nothing like. I am not those guys. I am not even like any facets of them. I don't look like them. I don't dress like them. I don't walk like them. I don't talk like them. I don't eat like them. I'm not them. And so those characters I had to always hold very close. My consciousness. But I'm like you about half the time.
What part do you wish in the rest of your life? There's one part you can nail down. No one can take it. Is there somebody you like?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a concept of a character that I really want to play, and I've always loved the Robin Hood story. It's a great story, but I want to play a guy who comes from a background like I do, which is very poor, and has to fight to find education in his life, blah blah blah, and I want him to marry very well. He has to go to a very good school, like